Take you live to Palo Alto as the Paly Vikings get ready to take on the Milpitas Trojans. I'm Mike Foyles alongside my partner Alex Ross for tonight's broadcast here on MC Sports. Palo Alto enters tonight's matchup with a record of 3-5, 2-2 in league play. And Milpitas comes in undefeated at the top of the De Anza League standings at 8-0, a perfect 4-0 in league play. And today it's a full moon, beautiful skies, and a fun night for football, and it's also senior day here for Palo Alto, and a very young football team, only 6 seniors that are going to be celebrated today. But it's always a fine sight to see 4-year players celebrating the end of their journey with playing for the Vikings.
The game will be starting in approximately 25 minutes. Until then, senior celebrations will be taking place. Well, Michael, what do you think of tonight's matchup?
Well, it's going to be Palo Alto with their hands full because this is a very dominant Milpitas team. You know they're 8-0, but how they've done this season, it's just been remarkable because every team, they've just been able to thump them. And their only close game came against Los Gatos in a 27-21 win.
What do you think of the national ranking 449th place for Milpitas? Think that's a bit low?
Well, for Milpitas,
thinks ending the tumbling routines with jump flips is her best cheer memory. The best advice from her coaches, pay attention, and then maybe you'll know what
at this point, we're going to hand it to the field announcer as the senior day gets celebrated here at Palo Alto.
Please welcome Sharisa Halopine.
Your mom. See that your mom.
Our next cheer senior is called M Squared by her teammates and is participating in her second year of varsity cheer. Like Sharisa, she's also been a member of Paly's diving and gymnastics teams. Math is her best subject, and she fondly remembers the night before the first cheer competition. She always felt inspired when her coaches said, "Get better." Here tonight with her mother Janet Weiner, father Ben, and brother Mark, please welcome Maya McCall. Fifth senior cheer team member is called Cheer God by her teammates. Has plenty of experience with 3 years on the varsity and 4 with the varsity competition squad. She's also the team's captain this year. She enjoys marine biology in school and still remembers cheer camp in her freshman year when her teammate Maya lost her sweatpants. She joins Chloe Finley in remembering "Fake it till you make it." That's her best advice from her coach. She's with her parents tonight, Carolyn and Dan, and she is Veronica Santo. Our next cheer team member likes the nickname Sheol Money, finishing her 3rd year as varsity performer. She's also participated on Paly's gymnastics team. She's another psychology fan, and her favorite team memory was GS9. The best coach's advice: fake it till you make it. Joining her this evening is her mother of the Lions. She is Chloe Finley. Senior likes the nickname Dars and is in her 2nd year of varsity cheer. She is also one of this year's team captains. History is her favorite school subject, and she still marks zombie halftime as her best cheer memory. Top advice from her coach: stop talking. Joining her is her father, Dan, her mother Renee, and brother Cullen, along with brother Drew. Please welcome Darren Tellers. There are 6 seniors in the football team who are seniors tonight. This gentleman is known as Jay Boogie by his friends and teammates. He played on Paly's freshman team, junior varsity, and varsity the past 2 years. He's among the team's most versatile players, seeing playing time as a running back, linebacker, and strong safety. He has 2 favorite classes, Econ with Mrs. Whitson and Comedy Lit with Mrs. Philippou. He fondly remembers ending his JV season and being pulled up to the varsity at the end of his sophomore year, and also receiving jersey number 21. His favorite advice from Coach Alice, show up ready to play every day. He has a large family contingent with him tonight. Mom Leah, Dad Chris, Brother Austin, Sister Carmela, Grandmother Glenda, Cousin Brianna, and nephews Jimmy and Dave. Welcome, John Martinez. Our next senior is known as Puckett on the field and Jay at school. He's also a 4-year program participant, including freshman and junior varsity teams and the past 2 years in the varsity. This year he's distinguished himself as a starting running back and has also seen playing time at safety. He likes economics as a school subject and still remembers scoring his first ever touchdown in his freshman year. He counts make the best of every opportunity with the coach's advice he's received. And then this evening are Laura Ross Puckett, O'Neill Puckett, Rosa Bridford, Nicole, and Cody Ross. He's number 22, Jay Sean Puckett. Next is yet another 4-year program participant. His nickname is Fifi. Following 1 year each with the freshman and junior varsity teams, he's been a varsity linebacker and fullback the past 2 seasons. He enjoys studying science, and his favorite football memory is the first touchdown he scored as a freshman. Be opportunistic is the coach's advice he most values. Joining him this evening are his mother and father, Teresa and Peter. Brother Peter, Uncle Cesar Delgadeo, and he wears number 29, Peter Ibarra. Our next senior has 4 years of Paly football experience with freshman and junior varsity teams, as well as 2 years with the varsity. He's known as Junior or Jaimito. He also plays lacrosse. He's played both center and defensive tackle on the football team. Enjoys history, English, and school service with Nancy Scolo and Carla Larson. His favorite football memory was the entire freshman team season because no one expected us to be that good and we always came to play. Coach Barra once told him, never give up, Jaime, no matter what the opponent or life throws at you. His family joins him tonight, mother and father, Anita and Jaime Sr. There's number 54, Jaime Martinez. Our final senior has been a 2-year varsity starter. Our next senior has been a 2-year varsity starter, not to mention experience on both freshman and junior varsity teams. He enjoys science classes, and his favorite memory was being pulled up to the varsity playoffs as a sophomore. He's been the offensive and defensive tackle, and he's also a long snapper. Move your feet and you'll be sweet. Remember, with coach's advice, he's hurt. Here with him this evening are his mom, Lavon, dad, Tim, brothers Ty and Clay, and sister Rainey. He wears number 55, Thomas Wilcox. And last but certainly not least, our next senior is called Chuapala by teammates, and he's been a program member all 4 years here, including the last 2 on varsity as a wide receiver and defensive back. He's also participated in wrestling and likes history as a subject. His best football memory was scoring a touchdown in the first game of the season. He values his coach's advice to keep working, son. His family is with him tonight, including his mom, Betty Ann, father, Kevin, brother, Chevalier, and aunt and uncle, Don and Kenny Daly from Vacaville, and cousins, Mario and Mario Jr. He is Chioki Brian Anderson. Big round of applause for tonight's Paly seniors.
Racers, you can pick it up. You're back on.
And our Senior Day festivities come to a close, and now we get ready for football. We're going to have an intriguing matchup as the undefeated Milpitas Trojans get ready to take on Palo Alto.
That's right, and this figures to be a good one. Both of these squads hope to, well, for Paly, they mostly just hope to put together a decent season, whereas Milpitas is really in it to win it, you could say.
Well, Milpitas, as we mentioned, 4-0 at the top of the De Anza League, and their fate's in their hands. They have a road game today at Palo Alto, and then they'll finish up the season and try to finish 6-0 and win this conference this year. Last year, it was Los Gatos who took home the crown. And following a big 27-21 win over Los Gatos, there's a new team at the top of the hill right now.
That is for sure. The only team that figures to be in competition with Milpitas would have to be De La Salle, but currently Milpitas is in first. As I was looking over this Milpitas roster, I noticed the size of some of their players. You'd have to figure that would be a huge factor in why they've been so good this season.
They have 3 players listed over 300 pounds. I mean, that's pretty 300 pounds each. That's pretty crazy. When you look at what this Milpitas team's able to do, and offensively, it all starts with the offensive line. When you think of guys like Jason Skrampos, Tavita Musica, and Christian Hangana, the last one weighs 350 pounds. They are a physical force on the line of scrimmage, and they've got some talented players in the backfield. They're going to want to run the football against this Palo Alto team that, quite frankly, has really struggled against the run this season.
Yes, if I were to say there would be 2 keys to the game today for Palo Alto, I would say they need to be able to stop the run, which they did very well against Santa Clara. And they also need to not turn the ball over. Another key piece to their victory against Santa Clara, the turnovers cost them a game against Wilcox a few weeks ago.
And when you think of this Milpitas team, you can talk about the offense all you want, but how about this defense? They're averaging to allow 6 points a game. So if Palo Alto is really going to have to score, and they're going to have to score early to just try to pick up some momentum against this squad. A Palo Alto team that likes to throw the football a little bit. They're averaging around 22 points a game, but they're going to have to bring it this time. They had a real successful performance last game at home against Santa Clara. They dropped 55.
Definitely. I would say that today, I think they'll play a relatively good game. They've been considerably better since Oliver Svirsky has been removed from the starting quarterback role. He was fumbling and throwing plenty of interceptions.
Svirsky came in, he went 28 of 56, 426 yards, a couple touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. But they like to keep him involved. They're having him play a little bit of wide receiver, a little bit defensive back. But they brought in Justin Hull. And Hull is a guy who also plays a lot of different positions. But he's done a little bit better at quarterback this season with 747 yards on just 100 attempts, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. So he has been an improvement at the quarterback position. And you can definitely see Palo Alto has been able to thrive recently with the new quarterback.
Yes, as you can see, that is the Paly band marching across your screen right now. What do you think of the Paly special teams? That was another key to that win against Santa Clara, was early scoring by the special teams and just giving them all-around great field position. It allowed them to overcome their turnovers in that game.
Special teams is something that's obviously very overlooked in football, but it's one of the more important things. When you think about some of the teams right now in college football, a lot of the teams that are playing good special teams are the teams that manage to win games. So it's not always about how explosive you are in offense. It's just about playing smart football and getting used to the fundamentals and making plays on special teams. And that's something Palo Alto was able to do against Santa Clara.
Indeed. I would have to imagine that Milpitas is going to shy away from giving the ball to Eli Givens down the field, as he can really cause some damage.
Well, Eli Givens, you'll see him, number 81, the sophomore player of the year last year. A sure talent at the wide receiver position.
Yes, as our pregame festivities are, with 9 minutes remaining till game time, our pregame festivities are beginning to wind down. Definitely the main attraction tonight would be the football game, of course. Looking at the schedule for both of these teams, Paly has played some pretty tough non-league opponents, including San Benito and Palma.
Well, look at this Palo Alto team. They started off with a close win on the road at Sequoia, but then they ran into 3 really tough teams, and they just didn't look ready for either of them. They lost at San Benito by 33, got just viciously blown out by Mitty and then Palma. And it was such a disappointing start to the season for the Palo Alto Vikings, but they've kind of bounced back. They found a bit of a rhythm. They lost a close one to Wilcox earlier in the season, but ever since then, despite a blowout loss to Los Gatos, they look like a brand new team.
That's for sure, and I think you can really forgive that loss to Los Gatos. I think talent-wise, they are a better team.
Yeah, they looked overmatched.
That was for sure. I actually thought they played them relatively well considering the difference in talent.
And this is a Palo Alto team. It's senior night today, which is maybe going to bring on some more emotions, and who knows what they can do trying to pull off an upset today. But this is a very young football team, perhaps one of the youngest in the Bay Area. They have 6 seniors today. So 6 seniors celebrating their last game. I mean, you look at a team like Milpitas, you got to imagine they probably have around 20. So just how young this team is, you know this Palo Alto team is going to be a force in years to come.
That is definitely true. This is one of the younger Palo Alto teams we've seen. In recent years, Palo Alto's been very competitive. This has been a little bit of a step back, but I would say it's more of a retooling year.
It is, and it's the first year for Coach Jake Hallis taking over for the great Earl Hansen. And they lose a lot of good players too. You know, last year they were 6-6 a year ago, lost in the semifinals of the Division II playoff to St. Francis a year ago. And they're losing some good players. You think about quarterback Keller Christ, I'm sure a lot of people have heard about him, and now he's at Stanford. They also lost the wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson. He's now playing at Fresno State. So you lose a lot of good players. It's a young team to begin with, and they've shown some fight this year. They're 2-2 in league play, and they definitely have a good shot of maintaining a 500 league record, which is pretty much all you can ask for out of this young team.
Yeah, so 500 league record, I assume would be considered a win by Coach Jake Hallis and his squad. This would definitely set them up for a nice season next year. If they go 3-3, being this young, you'd have to imagine they would be a very, very special team next year with the older squad. Meanwhile, on the schedule for Milpitas, they have they haven't had quite the challenge outside of league play. However, they did take on Valley Christian.
Yeah, and Valley Christian's a good football team. The WCAL, they're having a great season. And what Milpitas did in that game, especially when you add that to what they did against Reardon, another WCL team, it shows that Milpitas is as good as anybody. They can play with anybody in the Bay Area. A lot of people are questioning the strength of the De Anza Conference and trying to use that as the excuse to try to downgrade how well Milpitas has played this year. But, I mean, Milpitas beat Valley Christian by 2 scores. They blew out Reardon by 27. This team can play with just about anyone. And you mentioned they're only number 2 in CCS behind De La Salle, and we know how good De La Salle is. They have a whole movie talking about how good they are at football.
Indeed. The only team that has played Milpitas close this year is Los Gatos, who put up 21 points on their defense, the most that anyone has scored against them this year.
And Los Gatos has already proven themselves to be a very good team. They beat St. Francis last year in the Division II CCS playoffs, and they actually beat Mitty in a game earlier this season. So Los Gatos and Milpitas are 2 of the top dogs out of all public schools in the Bay Area, and Milpitas was able to come up on top. So it shows a lot about this program and Coach Kelly King and what he's been able to do with it.
Yeah, it's been an incredible program this season. And you have to remember, Milpitas had a very nice season last year as well. This is not a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, they're building something here.
Yes, they are, although you'd have to wonder if they're going to have a little bit of a retooling year next year with the number of seniors.
That's true.
Going to be losing a lot of talent to graduation.
As we saw, the JV game just finished. And JV games are always interesting because it kind of tells you how good these 2 teams are going to be in a year or 2. And it was Milpitas who was able to come up on top by just 6.
Very, very close game. If this game can be just as close as the junior varsity game, I think Palo Alto would have to feel pretty good.
I think the goal for Palo Alto, yeah, I agree. It's just to really just battle and try to keep this one close.
I say if Palo Alto cannot get blown out, I think that would be a victory for them, as they know they're not quite as talented as Milpitas, but if they can play them tight, that shows they can really, they will really be a force to be reckoned with in years to come.
And stranger things have happened, right?
That is definitely true.
It's a full moon, so anything's possible.
Anything is possible under the full moon. A very radiant full moon, I should add.
It's funny, they were the only
As you can see, the Paly seniors are delivering a very heartfelt motivational speech to their fellow Vikings. Meanwhile, the Paly band continues to play their pregame warm-ups. Over on the other sideline for Milpitas, their players are beginning to get their helmets on, and they haven't gotten in a huddle yet, but it would appear that they are starting to get water. Probably very important to stay hydrated for these games, even at night. And coming into this one for Paly, I would say that their only goal tonight, it would probably to put up points on Milpitas at all. I mean, Milpitas' defense has been extremely solid this year, and Paly's offense has been quite shaky. So if they can put up some points on Milpitas, that would be huge.
This is a Milpitas team that has shut out 3 teams this year. But the amount of teams there's only been 2 teams that have been able to put up over 10 points against Milpitas, and that's Valley Christian and Los Gatos. And now, getting ready for our national anthem.
And that will conclude the Star-Spangled Banner. There is just under a minute left until game time as we get ready to get underway.
Gentlemen, welcome to Palo Alto High School, Monterey Field, and Viking Stadium for tonight's D'Angelo game between the visiting Milpitas Trojans, with the record of 8-0 under head coach Terry King, and the Palo Alto Vikings under Coach Jay Hills with a record of 3-5.
I told them you guys were going to be here, so Rosie coming. I don't know if she's coming. New address. I don't know if no. The reason I said it was there is you do that? So they allowed. I know. You're going to like some
Alex is getting really close up. That's for Josh coming that way more, and then Moore's kind of moving up.
I'll just show down the truck, right?
That will be shut down.
And so Palo Alto has won the toss, and they will defer to the second half. So Milpitas will get it first.
You know what? You're right in the light.
Milpitas will receive the first half
And
kickoff.
you try to wonder what the message is going to be for Palo Alto when you think about who you're going against. And it's such a phenomenal opponent in a game that I don't think anyone really expects Palo Alto to win. But if they just kind of come in, play their game, just worry about what they can do, we can see a pretty good football game. And that's what we hope to see tonight.
Cool Friday nights with large home crowds tend to be where upsets happen, I would say. This is definitely an upset atmosphere. Not sure it's going to happen, but it's always a possibility. As Palo Alto takes the field. I actually quite like this decision to defer to the second half for Paly. I feel like it's the right move to keep the Milpitas defense on their sideline. However, the key to winning at Santa Clara really was getting out to an early lead and playing solid defense. And they won't necessarily be able to get out to that early lead. So they're going to have to follow a little bit of a new strategy opposed to just leaning on Eli Gibbons' return game.
Definitely an opening stop here for Palo Alto will really be crucial in just kind of getting the momentum on their side. So here we go. Get ready to kick off number 35, Jose Patina.
And Palo Alto spreads into formation. And Wilcox is running too deep.
And we're on our way in Palo Alto. And this time he just pops this one up and Milpitas dives on it at the 36-yard line. And that's where they're going to set up camp.
Definitely a nice way to get started from Milpitas. Lucky to sit on that, almost a fumble.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting play call to just trying to just lob it up in the air like that. And almost like an onside kick.
Yes, it was like an unsure onside kick, as I would call it. Well, if Paly wants to have any hope of winning this game, they can't be unsure.
And now we get to see this dominant Milpitas offensive line getting to work. And you just look at the big bodies coming in right now. Man, that's a superior force right there.
Yes, Milpitas has put up at least 27 points a game in every single game they've played in this year.
John Keller, the quarterback for Milpitas, they give this one up the middle. And getting across the 40, a gain of around 6 yards that time.
As we mentioned pre-game, key to Paly tonight will be stopping the run. They did that very well against Santa Clara. However, in their losses, there has been the very glaring trend of being unable to stop the run, specifically the run up the middle.
That time it was number 28, Cross Chavez, and he's having a heck of a season. 82 carries, 739 yards. That's over 9 yards per attempt, and he also has 7 touchdowns this season. That time a gain of 6, and it's 2nd down and 4.
Wow, those are quite the numbers.
They are. They'll motion their tight end, that's number 10, Ifada. They give this one right side, and run it working across the 40, and a big gain all the way to the 38-yard line, and a 1st down for Milpitas.
That was quite an incredible run. Paly could have had him about, I would say, 10 yards back, but they just weren't quite willing to make the tackle. Maybe playing a little bit conservative would appear early on. We'll see if that helps them or hurts them. Personally, I believe that in a game like this, where you're obviously not as talented as your opponent, you really got to play aggressive and hope luck falls your way.
That was Chavez that time, and a gain of 20 to the 38-yard line. Under center, and they move first. That's going to be a false start against the Trojans. That came on number 10, Toa Lafeda.
Hopefully we don't see another brawl between the visiting squad and the referees like we saw in that Halloween matchup last Friday.
A brawl.
Yes, there was quite a skirmish down on the field between Santa Clara and the refs.
That's bizarre.
Eventually, Coach Hallis got involved in the argument.
So under center, they're going to hand this one off once again. He's got a hole, spinning across the 30-yard line, stays on his feet, and finally driven back. And pretty close to the 1st down that time, a gain of around 15 yards.
And Chavez is dropped at what would appear to be the 33-yard line. Here's a replay of that incredible run, which really demonstrated Chavez's strength. As you can see, spinning away, then tries to break free, but just unable to evade the tacklers.
A gain of 14 yards, and Palo Alto's already shown that they're going to struggle against the run today.
Yes.
2nd down and 1. Under center, a power formation. They go up the middle to the fullback and pushing forward. It appears like he got it. A gain of about a yard. That's all he needed.
They're going to give Milpitas the 1st down, it would appear. Yeah, so it would appear they're going to give them the first down. And you'd have to imagine that if Milpitas keeps moving the ball like this, it's going to be a very long night for the Vikings.
Nothing fancy that time. Give it to the big number 44, Royce Kim, 5'10", 225-pound running back. And he picks up a yard and a first down. Ball at the 27-yard line. Up the middle once again.
And Chavez.
A gain of around 5 yards for Chavez.
And another nice run by Chavez. Even when he's getting stopped, he's still picking up decent yardage. And that is a huge problem for the Vikings. When you look at these two squads, you can't help but notice that Milpitas just looks bigger. And you'd have to imagine this a problem. Even Chavez is as big as most of the defensive players. And these O-linemen are just completely overmatching them.
That time a fumbled snap, but John Keller was able to dive on it. And that's going to bring up a 3rd down and 5.
You think they'll pass here?
And it looks like it is a passing down if you're Milpitas. And John Keller's done some good things this season. He's 32 for 66, so not a great completion percentage, but his yards per attempt is off the charts with 800 yards. He's got 11 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. So what that tells you about this Milpitas team is they want to run the football, but when they break out the passing game, they can be mighty explosive.
Yeah, honestly quite the opposite of Paly. Paly's run game is their more explosive side, whereas their pass game is typically short yardage passes. And a flag is down.
But that time was just a curl around. The wide receiver cut it short. A really nice tackle made by Chioke Bryant Anderson, one of the seniors tonight. And now also a flag that looks like it's going to go against the Trojans.
I would assume that is pass interference against Milpitas.
I think that flag came out a little early though, so let's see. Because if it came out early, indicate it probably. And that's going to be a holding call against Milpitas.
And Milpitas is going to be moved back. Now it's definitely a passing down. This is not 4-down territory anymore.
3rd down in California, back at the 37-yard line. For the Trojans, a big passing down here, as you mentioned. They go 4 wide, 1 running back. Keller back to pass. They bring pressure. Blitz picked up well. He airs this one out down the field, and this one's caught, and a first down for Milpitas. My goodness, what a catch by Christian Rita.
Somebody missed their man there, as you can see.
And that time we saw Palo Alto decide to bring pressure, but what a job by the offensive line to pick up the blitz. And he takes a shot downfield in man coverage and a big first down for Milpitas, and they get all the way inside the 5-yard line. That's what good teams do. That's what good teams can do. It was 3rd down, and the scorekeeper couldn't even count the distance to get a first down, and they somehow pick it up.
Yeah, Milpitas is extremely lucky they were able to find the open receiver.
They'll get this one right side, diving toward the end zone. He got awfully close. And they're going to mark him just shy, I believe. Once again, that's number 28, Chavez, the ball carrier.
Just shy, as you said. As I was mentioning, Keller is extremely lucky that he found the open man, as he was completely oblivious to the blitz.
Well, actually, I thought the offensive line picked it up pretty well, though.
I thought his O-line picked it up, but he seemed to have no clue what was going on.
And 2nd and goal, it's going to be Keller taking this one up the middle. And I believe he got in. No call yet. And now finally a touchdown, Trojans. And they strike first. So that time, nothing fancy. John Keller goes right up the gut on a QB sneak. And the Trojans lead by a score.
That is indeed a touchdown, as you can see clearly across the line. And that will give Milpitas a lead for their defense to defend. And as small as 7 points, assuming they make this PAT, is with this defense, it may actually be enough already this early in the game. And that's something that most teams can't say, especially this Vikings team. Their defense has struggled mightily against the run. And as a result, the passing game has really developed for their opponents out of the fact they've been unable to stop the run. Santa Clara, who has had trouble running the ball this year, even they were unable to run against Paly.
And Ryan Bunyard's extra point is wide. just didn't look clean coming off his foot that time. And with 7:34 remaining in the first quarter, our score, Milpitas 6, Palo Alto 0.
Scoring drive. 4 minutes and 24 seconds. 64 yards in 11 plays with the touchdown coming in a 1-yard sneak by quarterback John Keller.
And so a perfect start for Milpitas, and it didn't look perfect. At one point, it was 3rd down and long, and they somehow were able to pick up a huge play to find Christian Rita, and that ended up setting up the 1-yard run for John Keller.
Well, that's the difference between a good team and a great team. Great teams find a way to make it happen on plays like that. A good team can do it when it's manageable. A great team can do it whenever. And Milpitas kicks away.
Bunyard with the kickoff. Caught it around the 4-yard line. They take it out. Not much room as they cross the 20.
As Paly will take over at around the 20-yard line. Definitely not quite the return that Mr. Givens had to start off the game against Santa Clara, but any return where you get over 20 yards is a decent, when you end up past the 20-yard line is a decent return. Not hurting his team, just not helping it too much. And
it'll be number 2, actually, I believe, Oliver Svirsky in the game at quarterback. They'll run the I. 2 receivers, split on each side. Handoff up the middle. Looking for a hole that time was Jay Sean Puckett. And he's able to fight for 4 yards to the 25.
Puckett, one of the seniors who is being honored today at the Senior Day celebrations. Puckett, beloved by his teammates and a team leader, as prior to the game, he was delivering a very heartfelt speech to his teammates, presumably about this game, alongside Felix Ibarra.
And that time a pretty nice run, rumbling to the 30-yard line, a gain of around 5. Will set up a 3rd down and about 1.
No, they're going to give him the first down, it would appear.
No, they're going to mark him short.
Oh, just short.
So 3rd down and 1, yeah, they moved the ball the last second. But 3rd down and 1, ball at the 30-yard line, and this is where Palo Alto's offensive line is really going to be tested going against this physical Milpitas defensive front 7. And here we go, Svirsky under center. They'll run the I. Everybody pretty much packed in on the line of scrimmage. It goes to Puckett, and he's going to pick up the 1st down. A really nice run by Puckett that time, and he gets the chains moving.
And if Paly's going to win this one, they're going to need to be able to run it. Svirsky's been shaky at best this season, and they can't lean on him too much. They're really going to need to set him up very nicely with the run, and I'd like to see him maybe try to get something going in space here. Milpitas, of course, a very large, not quite as agile team as some, and I could see maybe some screens and outside runs being quite effective. As you saw a few seconds ago, an outside run worked quite well.
A lot of that's going to start with establishing a run game, but that time it was going nowhere on that handoff to Puckett.
And both these teams seem to have made up their minds about running the ball tonight. And in all likelihood, this will be a low-scoring game. Neither of these teams is coming out looking for a eruption, I suppose you could say.
And that was number 56, Tavita Musica, one of the 300-pound plus guys on this Milpitas team. He's on both lines of scrimmage, and he is really going to be a problem for Palo Alto today.
And there's one of those
right
screen
side,
passes.
here's Eli Givens looking for some room, and he fights forward across to the 37-yard line. A gain of around 5 that time. Sets up a 3rd down.
That is a pass to the very explosive Eli Givens out in the flats. And this is what Paly's really going to need to do, is to make stuff happen in space. They won't be able to beat Milpitas in. That's a given. They just don't have the size. They're going to have to beat him is down the field and to the outside.
And if they can utilize some type of run game to set up plays to the outside, then I think they could be in business, because Eli Givens is one of the most talented receivers in this conference. Left side, here's Puckett trying to cut up the middle, takes a big hit at around the 39-yard line. A gain of about a yard, maybe 2.
And Puckett was spun around there at the end of that play.
So what do you think of the play call there? On 3rd down and 5, they go up the middle, and they don't get much, and they're going to have to punt it away.
I would have to say that I agree with the call. I mean, I think it was safe to assume, based on the way they've been running it, they'd get a few yards, and I think it may have been 4th down territory. However, he just got stuffed, and as a result, they're going to have to punt it away.
It'll be Brian Anderson to punt it away.
And a low snap.
Gets plenty of time. Pretty good punt. This one caught it around. It's actually going to go let it bounce, and it's going to roll all the way inside the 15-yard line. Nice job in the punting game by Chioke Brian Anderson.
And that takes a Viking bounce for sure. And both teams will retake the field. As you can see, there is a shot of the Paly band, directed by Mr. Jeff Wilner and Mr. David Brigham.
If ever you're wondering about how big these linemen are for Milpitas, just take a look at your screen. My goodness.
As you can see,
a lot of power there.
Just off to the left, number 77, Christian Hangana. As you can see, his size 350 pounds.
But they run it left side, well defended by Palo Alto that time.
Hangana Jr. at 6'6", 350 pounds. Just gigantic.
Attaboy, Paly. Put him backwards, why don't you?
There's two keys to being a good football player: to have the physical ability and to have the mental toughness. And as you can see, he's got one of those boxes checked in a huge way. And Milpitas will prepare.
2nd down, 11. They lost a yard on the last play. It goes right side. He's got some room. Looks for a block. And now dragging defenders and a 1st down to the 30-yard line. A gain of 16 yards.
And that will set up Milpitas with considerably better field position. Now, if they were to punt it, they could presumably pin Paly back pretty deep.
And this young man, Cross Chavez, right now is definitely looking pretty impressive. Stacked up a lot of yards in that opening drive and is continuing to do so on this one.
And
this time they'll spread the field a little bit more with 2 wide.
I think Milpitas probably likes that matchup on the outside, as they've got one-on-one coverage.
And a play action. Keller wants to air this one out down the field. He's got a man wide open, underthrown, but it's caught. And now just a wrestling match for the football, but it's caught, and a 1st down for Dion Leonard and the Trojans all the way at the 20-yard line of Palo Alto.
Unfortunately, on that play, I feel that Paly was doomed from the second the play call came in. They had one-on-one coverage, and unfortunately, they just couldn't catch up to the receiver.
And you have to have one-on-one coverage when you're given the way that they've been able to run the football. You have to stack the box, and when you do that, you enable big plays in the passing game. And that time, number 16, Dion Leonard, broke way free. That could have easily been a touchdown. It was an underthrown ball by Keller, but still gets all the way to the 20-yard line, and the Trojans are back in business with 2:24 remaining in the 1st quarter.
And they are running 3 men in the backfield in this play.
They go left side, shakes the defender, keeps going. Here comes Chavez.
And Chavez will not go down. He
carries defenders to the 11-yard line, a gain of 9 that time to the near side.
And here's a replay of that incredible effort by Cross Chavez.
And he's not the biggest guy. He's 5'9", 175. But he's got some sting when he gets the handoff.
Yes, he does. He did not go down on that play. And Paly gets, and both teams get ready at the 12-yard line.
2nd and 1. They go 1 wide. And a handoff right side, looking for a block. Cuts back inside the 5. And a nice looking run and a 1st down for the Trojans.
And that one almost looked like an option play. Can't tell if it was a fake or an option, but whatever it was effective.
And Chavez did a really nice job reading his blocks. He definitely wanted to go to the outside, but he saw Palo Alto was in pursuit, so he cuts right back up toward the middle, and he gets inside the 5-yard line for a 1st down.
And once again, Milpitas continues to demonstrate their creativity. Even on the run, they're coming up at Paly with all different approaches, and the Vikings just haven't been able to respond.
That time, just power football at the middle, but Palo Alto able to stuff it this time. And they recover the football.
And
a fumble on the play.
And that is huge for Palo Alto.
Excuse me. And it looks like they're actually going to mark him down, and they're going to signal second down. So at first it looked like the referee was signaling the ball was going to Palo Alto, but they're saying he was down, and so this ball is going to stay with Milpitas. And we were fooled a little bit by the crowd's reaction. I think everyone thought Palo Alto had recovered.
I don't know. From the first look, I thought Chavez was down, but I thought the refs said he wasn't, but apparently they agreed with us.
So it'll be second down and goal at the 5-yard line. Flags come in immediately. Should be a false start against the Trojans. And it will.
Indeed, it is a false start. And that will back about 5 yards. Thus far, Palo Alto's been pretty good about the penalties and haven't committed any turnovers. And if they can continue this, they shouldn't get blown out by Milpitas. They just need to be able to make, I say if they can get a turnover on one of these drives, that will definitely swing momentum a lot and give them an opportunity. But until they prove they can stop this, I'm not sure Paly can hang with Milpitas.
This time, second and goal on the 11. Here's Chavez pushing all the way toward the end zone. It looked like he got in. Touchdown Trojans, and they're up 2 scores.
And that, it appears, will make it 12-0.
How about that run that time? Number 28, Cross Chavez, and he had a beautiful block coming from number 56. That was Tavita Musica once again. Man, he's a physical presence. And that time just reads his lead blocker and was able to push forward and find the end zone. And the Trojans lead 2 scores.
And just like that, Milpitas is doing what they want. Come out here and really just try to overwhelm Paly. Take the crowd out of this and show them who's boss. And they are coming out to attempt the point after.
And it looks like they're going to go for 2. So they're up 12-0. They missed the extra point last time, so now they're going to try to get it back by going for 2. They're going to run right side. Keller throws this one in the end zone, incomplete. Intended for number 15, Sean Barnes. And the 2-point conversion attempt is no good. And with 20 seconds remaining in the first quarter, our score, Milpitas 12, Palo Alto 0.
That's one drive, 85 yards in 6 plays, 7 plays. Took 3 minutes and 36 seconds with John Keller scoring on a 1-yard plunge.
Now the first 2 drives, Milpitas is pretty much just doing what they do best. They run the football. And when they have to unleash the passing game, they can. And they have some explosive playmakers in the wide receiving core. And we saw a big play on that last drive that got all the way to the 20. And then it was just that fierce rushing attack able to finish with the score.
And on the right side, receiving for Paly, that is number 81, Eli Gibbons.
They'll bring it out from around the 3-yard line. That's Chioke, Bryant, Anderson, and they're only able to get to around the 18-yard line. And that's where Palo Alto will start things off. They were able to pick up a first down last drive, but then had their drive stalled around the 40-yard line.
As dominant as this Milpitas offense has been today, the fact that they've missed out on 2 points collectively through 2 touchdowns, which resulted in no points after the score. The difference between 12 points and 14 is quite huge, as now it means that Paly can score a touchdown and another touchdown, and they don't even have to make a PAT either time and tie this game. That means that it is 2 scores will give Paly a lead at this point. And that has got to be pretty motivating for Paly. I'm not sure I agree with the call to go for 2. Even though it would put them up by 14, I feel
they're just trying to even it out after missing the last extra point. They wouldn't have gone for 2 if they had made the extra point on the first possession. This time that handoff went to John Martinez, and that brings us to the end of the first quarter. So far it's been all Trojans. They lead 12-0 over the Palo Alto Vikings.
as both teams will come out onto the field here, ready for this second quarter. But as I was mentioning, the fact that Paly's only down by 12 and can take a lead with 2 touchdowns has got to be pretty motivating for them.
This time they go up the middle, and there's nothing going on that handoff. Maybe a gain of a yard, and it should set up around a 3rd down and 5. So familiar position for Palo Alto. They had this last drive, and they decided to run the ball up the middle and didn't have too much success. So what do you think they draw up here on 3rd down and about 5?
I don't know. I could actually see Paly once again running it as due to the fact they've shown no signs of being able to stop Milpitas defensively. I would have to imagine that they'd treat this as 4-down territory.
I don't know. It's early in the drive. I think you got to throw, because you got to try to do something to get your offense going, because I don't know how long this Palo Alto defense is going to be able to hold up in this game. They'll line up with 3 wide. In motion is Brian Anderson. Back to pass. Pressure comes after Swirsky. Rolling out right. Makes a throw and a 1st down.
Wow.
How about that pass by Swirsky as he rolls out? And Palo Alto gets the chains moving that time on a completion to number 35, Jose Patino.
No.
And he looked like he had nothing. Pressure came immediately. A really nice job by the front 4 that time. But Swirsky was able to scramble out, and it was a bit of a risky throw, but he's able to squeeze it in, and a 1st down to the 37-yard line.
Snodgrass doesn't necessarily have the speed due to the fact he's a tight end of the wide receivers. But one thing that is for sure is that he has an uncanny ability to get open and hang on to the football.
Now play action. They air this one out downfield to Givens. A one-on-one, and it's broken up, incomplete. Number 2, James Santos, breaks it up. And Santos is a guy this year, it's tough to go after him because he has 5 interceptions this season. And as I like the call, though, to go one-on-one with Eli Givens. Take your best player and make him go one-on-one with the defensive back. Just well played that time defensively.
I agree. I feel that once you see that play start to fail, you really get a sense of how good Milpitas is. The fact that they can match with Eli Givens on one-on-one coverage consistently is huge.
That is impressive. Because Swirsky had some time to throw. That was perfectly engineered to take a shot downfield, but give some credit to the young man, James Santos, to be able to break that one up, and he stuck with Givens the entire time. Handoff up the middle, and they run right into number 24, Jared Green, the leading tackler on this Trojan squad, and it's going to bring up a 3rd down and 10.
Paly, I think, of course, is going to throw here. I think they'd be foolish not to in this situation, as they really, really need to get something going on this drive. They cannot put their defense in the position to have to make a play to keep them in this game. They need to take some of the pressure off their defense.
And one guy to watch here for Milpitas, number 88, Jason Scrampos. He's a guy who knows how to get after the quarterback. And this one's thrown out right side. It's incomplete. Once again intended for Eli Givens. On the coverage is James Santos, and Palo Alto is going to have to punt it away. But getting back to that kid, number 88, Jason Scrampos, he's got some offers from a lot of good Pac-12 schools. I'm pretty sure Cal's one of them. And a really good young man, a defensive end, and he's been doing a nice job getting after the quarterback today.
Yeah, the Milpitas pass rush has been quite effective. Even though they haven't done much per se, they have been forcing a lot of very bad passes out of Swirsky.
And I think sacks is kind of an overrated and sort of a misjudged statistic, because it doesn't really measure everything about a pass rush. A pass rush is mainly just about keeping the quarterback on his toes the entire time, rather than just how many times you bring him down.
Yes. I also feel it's a kind of a screwed up stat due to the fact that the effect of a sack on some quarterbacks is much greater than on others. It doesn't properly measure. As on a running quarterback, a sack may simply measure him trying to roll out of the pocket and you hitting him. Whereas with some quarterbacks, it demonstrates your superiority over the O-line and able to break into the backfield. As both teams will line up here with Milpitas probably trying to continue running the football. I'd like to see if they do something creative here. Perhaps an option play?
Maybe you can see that. We kind of saw a little bit of an option play when they went for the 2-point conversion where John Keller rolled out, and then he actually ended up throwing the ball. So it kind of shows that they're willing to get a little bit creative with Coach Kelly King.
Coach King had done.
And they fumbled that time, or at least the quarterback tripped as he gave the handoff, but it's not going to matter because he's got some open green. Across the 40, keeps going, and what a run by number 15, Sean Barnes, finally brought down by Chioke Brian Anderson all the way to the 35-yard line of Palo Alto.
That was a very admirable tackle by Chioke Brian Anderson. He didn't try to hit him too hard. He just made sure that he brought him down. Didn't look pretty, but he got the job done.
A senior defensive back, a sure tackler, but how about that run? And the thing about this Milpitas team is, as good as we see from Cross Chavez, they try to bring out a big group of running backs and just kind of keep bringing them in and out. And Barnes is another one of those guys who's going to get plenty of carries. And a nice run to the 30-yard line, a gain of 8. So when you have a slew of running backs, some people like to prefer just having one main running back, but sometimes it's more effective to have a group of guys that can contribute so that you always have a well-rested player in the game. And that's what Milpitas tries to do with their offensive attack.
That is true, and it appears to have worked pretty well today, as the Paly defense is being tired out much more quickly than this offense. It's giving the offense a huge leg up. And
once again, we see Keller just sort of trip as he gives the handoff.
And I'm wondering if there is anything, if he has some mud or something stuck in his shoe. This is a turf field, so
it looks
it's
like
not on the field.
He may be getting tripped up by one of his linemen, but each time he's still been able to give the handoff, and it looks like they're going to be about a yard short, so 3rd down and 1. And this Palo Alto front seven's sure going to be tested here.
Yeah, this gigantic Milpitas team has just been more physical and opened up huge lanes for Cross Chavez. Because once again, the quarterback.
And he fumbles the snap, and then it was number 79 for Palo Alto, Troy Henderson III, who makes the tackle. And I don't know if he got the first down. He did not. They're going to mark him a yard short, so it'll be 4th down and 1. They have a decision to make, but if you're Milpitas in this type of situation, you have to go for it. Probably a little too long for field goal range, and if you're as physical as Milpitas is, you're going to have to go for it. And if you're Palo Alto, this is a big time in the game, because if you can get a stop here, that's going to gain some momentum for this team.
Definitely. If Palo Alto can make a stop here, that puts them in a great situation to potentially go on a scoring drive and make it close going into halftime, as Palo Alto, of course, receives at the half. So if they can come into the second half being down by less than a score, they'll have a huge leg up.
But here comes Keller picking up the first down with ease. That time, just a quarterback run, a quarterback blast along the left side. He had a wide open hole, and he takes it to the 20-yard line and a first down.
And here is a replay of that one. As you can see, just breaking through.
And he got some really nice blocks that time. We saw big number 77, Christian Hungana, the 350-pounder, teaming up with number 44, Royce Kim, the fullback, and wide open hole that time for the quarterback. First down and 10 at the 21. Flags come in immediately, and that should be a false start against Milpitas.
As good as Milpitas has looked tonight in terms of their actual plays, they have looked very, very sloppy with their repeatedly fumbled snaps and penalties. I mean, I think this might be the 3rd false start we've seen tonight.
That's something that Coach King's probably going to address in the locker room. And even if they are able to build a big lead, that's something you need to address, because, you know, this is a Milpitas team that wants to be perfect in every aspect of their game. Running right side that time was Barnes, well defended by Palo Alto. Number 21, John Martinez, able to make a tackle that time.
You can get away with mistakes against an overmatched Palo Alto squad, but when Milpitas comes up
when they start
against
going against some of the big boys that they're going to see in CCS, you might have to be a little bit more clean in terms of penalties.
Yeah, due to their weak schedule, they've been able to get away with mistakes, but they won't be so lucky in the playoffs as we get ready for this next one.
2nd down and 12 in shotgun. Back to pass there, one-on-one in the sideline, and it's bobbled and incomplete. A flag comes in as well.
I would assume that is pass interference on Paly.
That was intended for number 17, Andrew Williams, along the sideline, and
it looked like he got a hold of Williams' hand there towards the end of the play. Perhaps holding?
And looks like you're correct, a pass interference call against Palo Alto.
It looked like he got a hold of Williams' left arm, of course the arm he was not using to catch the ball, and tried to pull him back. And those plays that'll really hurt you against a team like Milpitas, especially on plays like that where he wouldn't have been able to get it anyway. That's just giving him free yardage.
And that's something that Milpitas is going to be able to do with their running attack. They're going to set up man coverage for their wide receivers, and not just man, but one-on-one coverage with not much help from the safeties. And that can make it real difficult for these cornerbacks for Palo Alto, where sometimes you have to do something like that. If you don't think you're going to make the play, it's sometimes better just to get a hold of a guy's jersey and see maybe if you can get away with it. That time he didn't, and it's going to be a 2nd down and 1.
As presumably Milpitas will just try to punch it in here.
Ball just outside the 10-yard line. Once again, it goes to Keller.
And another very creative run by Milpitas. And but even with how successful Milpitas' run game has been, it is not one-dimensional. They've been showing us QB runs, options, QB wraps, not to mention inside and outside handoffs. Haven't really seen many pitches tonight, but I'd assume that's going to come shortly.
And the interesting thing is that Keller is not a running quarterback. This is kind of a new thing that they're putting into their run game today, and it's catching a lot of people by surprise. This time they go right side, and they're just going to run into a wall that time.
It feels like each drive, Milpitas has added something new to their run game, just completely making Paly's adjustments irrelevant. And that's what's really kept the Paly defense on their toes. The fact that they haven't had long enough to prepare on the sidelines because of how their offense has been doing, and the fact that Milpitas is just morphing their game plan each and every drive, and it's working.
And that last play, they actually bring in a new quarterback, Derek McNary. So he's now in the game at quarterback. They run it right side. They got awfully close. No call yet, but he's going to be just shy. And that's going to bring up the 3rd down inside the 1-yard line.
And I would presume that Milpitas is going to run it again here. I would actually not be surprised if they went with a QB run.
And it's interesting because they've actually done this a little bit this season where they take out their starter, John Keller, and bring in another quarterback. This time it's Derek McNary. And McNary's got a little bit more size. He's 6'1", 190. So he's a guy who can take it and do some quarterback runs, as we've seen today. Under center, runs this one up the middle. Looks like he got in. Touchdown, Trojans.
And just like we said, that is a QB run up the middle, as Paly has not shown that they can stop Milpitas.
So that time, Derek McNary, the 2nd-string quarterback, comes in and takes one right up the middle for a touchdown.
And Milpitas is certainly making Paly look like a lot of their other opponents have, as they are truly, truly overpowering them. As they will come on to kick to attempt the point after, presumably.
And once again, I think they're going for 2, and they're going to bring back John Keller, their passing quarterback. So now we see what system they're using. They're using a 2-quarterback system. Keller's the passer, McNary's the runner. And now Keller's going to come in, and for the 3rd time, they're going to go for a 2-point conversion. Back to pass, they throw out left side, and it's caught. And a 2-point conversion is good to number 88, Jason Skrempos.
And just like that, it will be 20-0 in favor of the Milpitas Trojans. For those of you just tuning in, I'm Alex Ross alongside
Mike Foyles. We just got to know each other today, but it's been a fun game, and the Trojans right now dominating 20-0 over Palo Alto.
As Paly prepares to send their return team out on the field, they could really use some a spark here, and Eli Givens could certainly give that to him.
Now, we already talked about having multiple running backs and how that system works. Now, I understand, I agree with that. If you have a lot of guys in the backfield that can make plays, let them all go out there and give guys a rest. But what do you think about the 2-quarterback system that Milpitas is using right now with John Kelly, the passer, and with Derek McNary, the runner? It's worked today, but what do you think of the system in general?
I feel that it's actually not a great system for Milpitas. Although it works well for a lot of teams, I feel like Milpitas really has an identity of running the football. And I feel like it's wrong to continuously upset the rhythm. They've been able to be incredibly successful thus far. And I don't know why you would want to disrupt that rhythm. Even if it could potentially help you, why risk it? Especially against a team like Paly.
And you can kind of wonder, especially if you're the throwing starter quarterback, John Keller, what it does to his rhythm, like you mentioned, when he comes out of the game, has to go on the sideline for a few plays. It's a little bit odd.
As you can tell, right, like we said, it probably upsets his rhythm. As you can see, even though he had a wide open receiver on that 2-point conversion, it was a very shaky pass. He's lucky it was hauled in. That was almost a blown opportunity. But you know what's not a blown opportunity? Going to Pachi's Pizza. Pachi's began the summer of 2004 in Palo Alto with an expert pizza maker with a passion for her fresh, deep dish pizza and genuine hospitality. Today, Pachi's delicious pizza and signature customer experience is a neighborhood favorite. When you walk through the door of Pachi's, you're in for a treat. When you sit down at our table, you're family. Enjoy a Pachi's pizza today.
Well said, Alex, but on the football field, it was Tavita Musquia who picks up the fumble, and Palo Alto turns the ball over on their first play. So, man, just a disastrous play that time with 4 minutes to play in the second quarter. And who else but Tavita Musica?
And it would appear that what Paly did to Santa Clara is now being done to them tonight. As Milpitas has come out, they've played their game, and they've played it well.
And if you're Palo Alto, we talked about they need to play good football. They can't turn the ball over. They got to play good special teams and just give themselves a chance to win this game. But a turnover like that's really killer to this team and their momentum. But that time, number 21, John Martinez flies in for the tackle.
And finally, Paly is able to get a tackle on Cross Chavez. Perhaps that turnover was just a kick they needed to really start playing hard.
No gain on the run that time, 2nd down and 10.
Sometimes a turnover can actually help you, as it's a bit of a wake-up call for your team that they need to be more focused and really just take care of the ball.
But then you can start wondering, how about the stamina that's going to take out of that defense? And they've been on the field an awful lot today. And for a team like Milpitas that likes to run the ball, man, these linemen must be getting tired for Palo Alto. A nice run that time and a gain of 7 makes it 3rd down and about 3.
These linemen just look like they can't beat the linebackers. They can't catch up to Chavez. It just looks like a miserable night for them out there.
Well, the good thing is that they're all fighting. They're here to fight against a line that's just a lot bigger, a lot stronger, and probably more talented. But we've seen him at times do a nice job, and that time was a good example. He got awfully close to the 1st down on that run by Chavez. Let's see if he got it. And they're going to mark him short.
And once again, another low snap. That one actually probably prevented him from getting the 1st down. This is definitely an issue for Milpitas. You can't be getting away with giving the defense even milliseconds on a botched snap can be a huge difference for linebackers, as it can give them a window into the play call.
And now be 4th down and 1 at the 10-yard line. All the big bodies brought in on the line of scrimmage. It goes up the middle of the fullback and an easy 1st down and a gain of around 5 yards that time to the 5-yard line. And it goes to number 44, Royce Kim.
And Royce Kim just continuing to power it up the middle and get big yards.
And he's the fullback, and they're using him for short distance plays. And that time they only needed 1, he got 5.
And that's happened a few times tonight. I feel like every play Milpitas has called has been a good one. I feel like their play calling deserves tons of credit. However,
but looks like another false start.
Their discipline and sloppiness is what's keeping them from really blowing this wide open. They've outplayed Paly badly, but they just keep shooting themselves in the foot, and it is really, really going to come back to haunt them when they play a more talented team.
But another thing this Milpitas team is doing is they are controlling the clock. They are dictating the tempo. There is under 2 minutes to play. And I don't know how many minutes Palo Alto has had the football, because it just seems like this entire first half, it's been all Milpitas. This time right side, cutting back and taking it into the end zone. Number 25, DeJuan Crummy. Touchdown, Trojans.
And Crummy's got a touchdown. Here's the replay, as you can see.
And look at this cut.
Beautiful
Gets a nice
cut.
block from Tavita and then cuts up the field. A touchdown for Milpitas.
Crummy just completely juked out Taknishi there with that awesome cut.
And this time they will go for the extra point.
Last time they did this, they missed the PAT, and you know you have kicker problems when you're missing PATs. although it is a chilly night, which does not favor kickers.
And a botched snap that time, and the hold was a little bit off, but a nice job by Bunyard to knock it through. And with 1:41 remaining in the first half, Milpitas 27, Palo Alto 0.
And Milpitas once again gets away with an error. I feel like if Paly capitalized on even half of the errors that Milpitas has made, this would be a much closer game. And the fans are getting significantly louder as they are trying to cheer on their Paly Vikings, as you can see over there on the Milpitas sideline. Not even too much celebrating. This is a team that understands they can always be better.
You gotta like the demeanor over there on that sideline. They just look like a group that knows what they need to do. You know, they're not out there pumping chests, pounding chests right now. They're out there just getting focused and just trying to finish this game and just dominate each play. And that's kind of just the way they play football, and it's fun to watch.
It really is, and I feel like part of the reason why they're not super excited is they realize that they've gotten away with a lot. And the best football players are serious pessimists.
And even with a 27-0 lead, I wouldn't be surprised to see the head coach chew them up in the locker room, but a really nice return that time. Number 11, Shioki Brian Anderson, the senior, running one all the way back toward the 50-yard line, and maybe the type of kickstart this Palo Alto team needs.
Yeah, so we talk so much about Eli Givens in the return game and as a wide receiver in general, but Brian Anderson really showed that he is nothing to be messed with either.
And he's done some good things today. We've seen him make a lot of big tackles, and this time a really nice kick return to the 48-yard line. So good field position for the Vikings.
And Paly desperately needs a score to go into the half with a 3-possession game.
A 3-4 front. They're going to air this one out down the field, a one-on-one to Eli Givens, and this one's broken up, incomplete. A flag comes in. That was James Santos on the coverage. And Givens is a little upset because he knows he could have caught that one, but a flag comes in. That should be a pass interference.
Blatant pass interference on that play, so see on this replay. See, goes up and just, I'm not sure.
Yeah, now I look at the replay, I actually think that was a bit of a blown call because I don't know if that was a pass interference.
I agree. I can see why they made the call because from up here it certainly looked like pass interference. And you got to say a phenomenal acting job by Eli Givens. He really made it look like they threw him to the ground.
And Givens knows he should have caught that football. And because we all know the type of athlete he is. But that would have been a huge play, and he just wasn't able to come up with it.
And for Milpitas, that's got to be frustrating. But this is what happens. You've got to be careful. If at this, I feel like the refs are getting in this modern age of football are very flag happy, especially when it comes to the harming of quarterbacks and wide receivers. And that doesn't favor defense. So defenses need to adapt and realize that they can't play as physically as they like. Because even if it's not technically pass interference, if in doubt, the refs are now throwing flags.
Oh, so there were 2 penalties on the play. So we saw a flag all the way back at the 45-yard line, and that flag comes in for roughing the passer. So it's roughing the passer and pass interference. So we're still trying to see where they mark the football. They mark it at the 37-yard line.
And I wasn't watching the backfield. I was just watching that explosive play, so I wasn't sure about the roughing the passer, but I guess I'll have to take the ref's word for it.
So they go 2 wide, play action. Swirsky's got some pressure coming after him, and he is taken down and sacked by number 88, Jason Skrempos. We talked about what this guy can do at the defensive end position, and look at how easily he's able to get pressure. He blows right by number 55, Thomas Wilcox.
And the D-line just falls apart on that play.
How did that feel?
Pardon me, the O-line. And they just let Milpitas flood the backfield. And when you let that happen, your quarterback's not going to have an opportunity to make a play. Although on Swirsky's side, he should have had the awareness to abort the fake. It was pretty obvious that some blocks had been missed.
And pressure coming immediately. They throw this one right side. It's Eli Givens on the reception in a gain of around 6 yards. So they're able to get some yards back. Call it a gain of 7, makes it third down at about 10.
And if Paly hopes to have a chance in this game. They need to get it to their weapons, Eli Given. And even if it's a risky play, you've got to make things happen. But what do you think of Swirsky's play so far? Of course, the controversial decision to start him over Hall.
Well, he's done some good things. It's hard to tell because they really haven't seemed like they've had the football that much today, where Milpitas has pretty much had it the entire time. And obviously, there's things that could have been better, but at times he's made some good throws. And we saw one time it was James Santos who broke it up. The other time, Eli Givens. The other time it was Eli Givens who just bobbled the ball that time and couldn't finish with the catch. But it's hard to evaluate his play because I think we just need to see a little bit more of him. And I think you can just tell that this Milpitas defense is just too dominant for the rest of the playmakers on Palo Alto.
And they are well on their way to another shutout. That would be their fourth shutout of the year. Of course, they've already shut out Archbishop Riordan, Saratoga, and Wilcox this season.
It'll be 3rd down and 9. Ball at the 36-yard line.
As both teams get ready for the snap. And
once again, a big passing down, but they are sort of in 4-down territory, so let's see what they try to go with here. Back to pass, pressure comes, a screen pass to Eli Givens, but a poor throw that time by Swirsky, and it's incomplete. And that play would have been big because they had Givens with some room to run, and we know what this young man can do if he's able to get some opportunities. But that time, the throw just went behind him.
And I think part of the answer to the Swirsky question about how it's hard to judge because of the fact that he hasn't been on the field too much is largely his fault. He hasn't allowed himself to be on the field too much. He's made silly throws like that, where he's made the right decision, but he just doesn't have the physical capabilities.
And that time pressure comes, but look at Swirsky. What a run by the young man. And how about that? So Swirsky, what we know is that he's a talented runner because he's a guy who we see him at cornerback, we see him at wide receiver.
As you can see, just tucks it and runs right to the outside.
And he's got some phenomenal quickness, and that's something he's going to need to utilize today. And he picks up a 1st down inside the 15-yard line. Just 15 seconds remaining, a timeout called by Palo Alto to stop the clock. They have 1 remaining.
Palo Alto has no intentions of getting shut out, as they're showing. Great decision by Swirsky right there. Even though the pass rush was coming, he was able to identify it, notice there was a hole on the right side, tuck it in, go, fool the defenders, and pick up quite a few yards on that one.
And, you know, you need to appreciate just how young this Vikings team is, you know, because it's tough when you're a sophomore, you're a junior, and you look at who you're playing, and you're playing a bunch of 300-pound linemen. Man, that's a daunting task to say the least. But a nice little 1st down by Swirsky, and this would really be a boost in morale just to get some points on the board here in the 1st half.
Indeed. If they can do this, that would set them up to be able to make it a game in the 2nd half.
Flags come in immediately. What it should be a false start against Palo Alto. It will. A 5-yard penalty is going to drive them back to the 25.
And there goes a penalty. False starts are hard to take, especially at home. I'm sure Coach Halas won't be happy about that one, but he can't be upset with the effort of his offense. That's the first penalty they've committed all game. On the contrary, Wilcox's offense has just, specifically their O-line, has been very shaky when it comes to penalties and the snaps.
But then dominant in every other aspect.
Very true.
1st down and 15 at the 26. Swirsky back to pass. He's got some time, and that throw right side incomplete. Well covered on that pass attempt to Eli Givens.
Paly's looked crisp but overmatched. Wilcox has looked sloppy but undermatched. And that is the big difference in this game between these two teams.
So now 11 seconds left. 1 timeout left for Palo Alto.
And Chioke, Brian Anderson, Eli Givens, both out there for this one. I'd like to see if Swirsky could get the ball in one of their hands, as they are definitely the playmakers for this team.
They'll go under center, 3 wide.
I see a little bit of a advantage on the left side there for Paly.
And Swirsky steps up, throws on the run, and this one's caught at the 15-yard line.
And Swirsky saw that on the left side too.
And that was caught by number 11, Shioki Brian Anderson.
And like we said, Brian Anderson and Gibbons, they're not on special teams for nothing. They are very explosive. And it's really their explosiveness that has kept Paly in this game today. Wilcox has definitely shown a fear of them, and for good reason. When they've gotten open, they have been able to haul in some poor throws by Svirsky and really make it happen with their legs. Unfortunately for Paly, the run game just hasn't been there.
So Palo Alto uses their final timeout, and just 4 seconds remaining. It's 3rd down and 5.
And do you think they kicked the field goal here?
Well, you start wondering because Milpitas is up 27-0, and usually this is a situation where it's hard to tell because a field goal doesn't do you much good, but you almost need to get some points on the field. You need to get some points on the board before the end of the half.
And when you look at this score on the board, a field goal could very likely be necessary to tie it up.
Go Paly!
And
under
snap.
center, back to pass. Svirsky, left side, he's got a man, but it's dropped incomplete, and the clock's going to run out.
But it looked
They
like
might argue for a second, though, because it looked like they had a second on the clock, but nope, they're going to say it's done. So that's it for the first half. A dominant lead for the Trojans from Milpitas. 27-0 over Palo Alto.
I thought that was a very silly play call there at the end. I thought they should have taken a shot at the end zone if you're going to be aggressive, but no.
For now, we're going to enter halftime, and Milpitas looks pretty dominant right now. Mike Foyles along with Alex Ross signing off here on MC Sports until the 3rd quarter coming up shortly.
In the meantime, please enjoy the Paly Band.
Starting off.
Try this thing.
Give me 2 seconds, I will hand it to you. Standing over there, aren't you cold? I said, cold?
Why'd you make me out here?
They play ball.
They play ball.
I've seen some of those softball players.
Yeah, they do.
I'm not ours out here. The younger ones, yeah, she was.
You can look mean, right? And the funny thing is, she's like an angel. She works so hard on her school. Oh, yeah.
We got looked at her, yeah, I looked at
But she can do tough. We put her in good school.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just so that she can toughen up and she
Tonight for our final show of the season, Paly Band brings music from the wonderful world of cartoons. First we will entertain all, but especially all you baby boomers, one of the great cartoon themes of all time, the Jetsons.
The Jetsons. Here, the Jetsons. The Jetsons.
exclusively arranged for the Paly band by senior band members Peter Nishimura and Andrew Liu, the Pokemon team. Mr. Mueller and Mr. Brigham would now like to take the time to thank the final performance at Rutgers Stadium all of the senior band members for their fabulous contributions in the band these past 4 years. Jason Belly, Richard Cowell, Emil Grunstrom, Fabian Gardino, Eighth Lemon, Sarah Lynn, Andrew Liu, Sean McDonald, Bruno Miranda, Peter Nishimura, Sebastian Fontaine, Will Robertson, Schroeder, Courtney Sperling, Anthony Wilson, Kylie Wilson, Kenna Yamanisua, and Charlene Jude. Thanks to all of these great band members for their outstanding contributions to the greatness of the Paly band. Now let's all clap and chill on for the seniors and the Paly band playing Green and White Forever.
One of our famous songs, Green and White Forever. Let's put it on play. Come on, Lewis.
Thank you.
I'll say the far superior part.
We're winning.
Hello and welcome back to the second half of this high school football matchup here between the Palo Alto Vikings and the Milpitas Trojans. Benner and Kevin Mullen here in the studio in the commentary box here, filling in for Mike and Alex. And Kevin, thoughts on the first half and what's going to need to be done in the second half?
Well, it was a good first half, not for Palo Alto, obviously, but we've got Milpitas showed themselves to be one of the best teams in the Bay Area. People have been questioning whether or not they were the real deal. From what I've seen tonight, I think they are. They've got the deep threat in Christian Rita and other pretty talented, explosive receivers, and then they've also got the running game that's been established pretty clearly, headed by Chavez, who's been absolutely unstoppable. Not just because of his personal skill, but also that offensive line is just absolutely on fire. They're getting great blocks in, and they're opening up wide holes for Chavez to exploit. So it's been a interesting half, a little bit lopsided, but I think that Paly could possibly come back here if they can get something going offensively and try to get a couple stops, maybe some turnovers on defense. But I'm not going to say it's over, but Paly's got their work cut out for them. They've dug themselves into a little bit of a hole here, and they got a long way to go.
And we've noticed over the past few games for Paly, they've been switching their quarterbacks around between Justin Hull and Arvar Svinsky. Any thoughts on the decision to start Svinsky today over Hull?
I think it comes down to what the coach viewed as the matchup. I think that Milpitas was getting some pressure on the quarterback, or they have been with Skrempos, who's been a pretty huge presence in there on the defensive end. He's a D1 player, and I think that the Milpitas coach probably realized, or the Palo Alto coach, Coach Hallis, realized that they were going to be Milpitas was going to be getting to the quarterback no matter what. So
Yeah, it was huge.
they realized that Oliver Svinsky. Wait, so we weren't on live? Sarah? Just redo the intro. No.
Just as I said, if you get cold, put the jersey on because
And Milpitas queuing up for the second half kickoff. Paly to receive. We've got Givens and Derek McNary deep to receive to try to return this back and get a good field position for Paly to start off the second half. Whistle's blowing, the kicker's back, and he kicks it, and it's a deep kick all the way inside the 5 in the end zone, so that'll be taken back for a touchback. And Paly will start at the 25-yard line, I believe it is.
It's a little bit ironic that guy can boot it so far, yet is unable to make an extra point.
We did see that missed PAT. It's just a shank off to the left. Didn't even have a chance. It was quite pitiful, actually. And we'll see Svinsky come under center here for Paly to start the second half. We have the first half from Paly been dominated by the run game by Puckett. Not too many passing attempts by Svinsky in the first half. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that one thing they could really do this half is try to air it out a little bit. Maybe Milpitas is playing the run, so they know that Paly has just been trying to pound it away up the middle and haven't really established themselves in the passing game. So if Paly could complete a couple of short passes even, they might be able to open up some holes for their running game, but no sign of that yet. So we'll see what their plan of attack is this half as this drive develops.
That was Tavita Musica on the tackle there. He's been a monster all game, coming up clutch for the defensive line here, making stops left and right. Svinsky under center again with Puckett in the backfield. He's going to drop back to pass. Pressure's there, and Svinsky is taken down, thrown to the deck by 3 Milpitas defensive linemen, and not the start Paly's looking for this second half. It's going to be third and very long.
It's going to be third in America's national debt. They got a long way to go, and it doesn't look good for them right now.
Now, on this third down, 3rd and 25 is officially ruled. I mean, do you think Paly just takes it safe, tries not to get the safety? Because, I mean, they're back way up in there, and if they throw it, they've been getting they'll just be getting pressure on the quarterback and get sacked for safety, or do you try to go for it and just take a shot down the field?
No doubt, in my opinion, right now, you just got to run the ball up the middle. The offensive line has been unable to contain the Milpitas pass rush, so I don't think it would be a very good decision right now to let him throw a pass, considering he's been sacked on close to 25% of his dropbacks, and that's what they do.
Straight run up the middle by Puckett, probably good for 4 or 5 yards. Solid, get him out of the trouble so they can have a nice punt away here. Not to drive, they're looking to start the second half, but it's better than a safety.
That's true. That was not very encouraging. If I'm on the Palo Alto sidelines right now as a coach, I'm thinking this is not what I wanted to do to start the half off, because they've had trouble moving the ball the entire season, and that just pretty much demonstrated a very stereotypical Palo Alto football drive right there, getting backed up and getting behind on the downs. What they need to do is pick up decent yardage early, otherwise they're going to get Milpitas. It's going to be obvious passes.
And a deep kick down the sideline, fielded by Rita, and Rita goes all the way down the sideline, getting some fantastic blocks from his special teams unit and down to the 10-yard line. So a fantastic return by Rita, but not what Paly was looking for there at all. And Milpitas will start this drive inside the Paly red zone, looking for their 5th touchdown of the night. And we're presuming it's going to be a run touchdown, because that's what they've done this game. Just pound the ball up the middle, making cutbacks, getting gaping holes in the offense, and the offensive line creating gaping holes for the running back to just penetrate through.
Yeah, their team is pretty perfectly adjusted to the run game right now. They've got huge offensive linemen that not a single Paly defender has been able to match up with well. And when they're taking it to the outside, their running back has had 2 blockers ahead of him, just ready to take on any defender that tries to come up and stop him. So I would not be surprised if they just pound another one in here for an easy score. They got two backs. Takes it outside. He's got the edge.
That was Ali Mateu
for the touchdown.
Ali Mateu takes it down on the right side off his right guard for the touchdown. Breaks a couple tackles there and just bulldozes his way in there for the 5th touchdown of the game for the Trojans, and I might add their 5th running touchdown. Nothing. They've had a couple big completions in the air, but besides that, they've just been hounded on the ground, just right up in there in Paly's face, and Paly can't do a thing about it to stop it.
Well, Milpitas' rushing attack is probably one of the best in the entire state, from what I'm seeing here. I mean, they've got 5 guys who rushed for 200 yards on the team. They've got Chavez, who's been rushed for almost 800 yards on the season. And a couple of their guys are averaging close to 10 yards a carry, which is absolutely ridiculous. That's basically averaging a 1st down every time you touch the football. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Paly's run defense is unable to contain these guys, considering their Milpitas' run offense is far above average.
And it appears the touchdown has come back. It will not count. We're not quite sure what the call is, but it's 1st and goal again. And Keller is put under pressure. It's tipped up and almost intercepted. His halfback tried to make the play, but tipped it up with his hand. But the defensive back for Paly could not quite get under that and get the interception. So that'll bring up, I believe, 2nd and 10 for the Trojans on the Paly 10-yard line, looking for their 5th score of the game. And Milpitas has just been tossing Paly around. They can get whatever they want on the ground. They've been running up the middle, around the sides. Even the quarterbacks have been taking it out to the side and getting some joy.
Finding some joy out wide. Yeah. Well, Paly defense is pretty weak right now. It doesn't look like they're going to be able to. I guess that's pretty good. They got to stop there on that down. So it's going to be 2nd down and 12. It's manageable if they can hold them to a short gain here. They might be able to prevent a touchdown, but it doesn't look like that's what's going to happen here.
As Mateu takes it down and cuts off his blockers and takes it in for the touchdown. That's a 12-yard run for Mateu. Mateu's a big guy. Seems like he's got some force in him and knocks some defenders over, and he takes that one in for the score. Put Milpitas up 33, awaiting the PAT, assuming the kicker will make it. We're interested to see, as the kicker did miss his first PAT.
Are they going to kick?
It looks like they're going to take
Mateo's only a sophomore, too. He's got good years ahead. Looks like a very talented young man. Read his blocks really well there. I don't even think he was touched before he entered the end zone. So, nice job. Nice vision shown there by the young man.
PAT is up and good. He nailed that one. Split the uprights and went pretty far off beyond. I mean, this guy looks like he's got quite a leg on him.
That's a good leg. It's a nice leg. You like that leg?
I love it. Now Milpitas will kick off, and Paly will receive, hoping to get some offense. I mean, I'm not sure if they've really even gotten in. They gotten inside Milpitas territory once or twice this game. That's about it. I mean, nothing doing for Paly right now.
They got inside of Milpitas' 20-yard line on one occasion, I believe, and it was at the very end of the half, and they ended up not really converting on that. So they put together a nice drive at the end of the half, end of the first half. So we'll see if they can possibly regain some of that momentum and try to put together a drive that'll help build their confidence going forward. Maybe not for this game, but for any games that they have next week.
Ryan Bunyard for the kick. Bunyard is a junior, so he's got one more year to kick some more field goals. Maybe get some college scouts looking at him with that leg he's got. Bunyard kicks it deep down the field. It's almost into the end zone. It's going to be fielded about the 5-yard line. And he'll take it up, number 11 will take it up the sideline to the 23 before he's brought down. Nice open field tackle by that Milpitas special team unit. Now Shvinsky will command his troops, try to get some points on the board. I think they even take a field goal here if they can get one. Just anything on the boards, have something to show for in this game.
Yeah, it's never a good feeling as a team to be shut out the entire game.
Especially on senior night, too.
Yeah, especially on senior night. Got to show some respect for the seniors here and get some points on the board, please.
So they got one receiver split out wide left and one receiver split out wide right, with a fullback and a halfback behind him. He hands it off to Puckett up the middle, maybe a yard. Looks like nothing doing for no gain. And it'll be 2nd and 10, and Paly continues to struggle and flounder on offense.
We can hear some of the fans below us getting a little bit disgruntled about the fact that the coach seems to just be running the football up the middle every time. And I don't blame them because it's not working. They need to try something a little bit more creative on offense here. How about try a wide receiver reverse or just spread the defense out a little bit, because Milpitas, you're trying to run it down Milpitas' throat when they've got multiple 300-pound linemen just waiting to smash you. It's not going to be a very successful game plan.
Amen. Just take a shot, right?
Someone needs to take a shot. Sitting here by this parking lot.
Timeout by Paly. They're going to talk things over. Hopefully they get a good play call, get some yards here. And the referees will huddle, talking about the game.
Who do you think Palo Alto needs to get more involved right now?
You know, I think they got to get Eli Givens more involved. He's a phenomenal athlete. He has the X factor that can really he can just break out down the side. He's got that breakaway speed we all know, as he's a track star as well.
We saw last game against Santa Clara, Palo Alto was able to get a win against Santa Clara, and part of a huge reason for that was the fact that they got Eli Givens involved early. Returned kickoff for a touchdown and caught 2 receiving touchdowns just in the first quarter alone, which was put them up 28-0. So I think that if they can really get him involved, he's basically their best player on offense right now, as we've seen this from what we've seen this season. So looks like they're looking his way this time.
Shrinsky with a short completion out to Givens, wide right. It's going to be about 6 yards, so it'll be 3rd and 4, 3rd and manageable for the Vikings. And they'll look to get the first down here. It'll be first of the half for them on their second drive.
And that's a good play, I think. As the defensive back, you're going to have to respect Givens' ability to go deep, and they're going to be playing a little bit off him. And he took advantage of that, just came back for a short little catch, picked up 5 yards, and is able to make this 3rd down not so daunting.
Givens split out wide left now. He appears to be the only receiver on this play. And you would think that Paly's going to go with the run play now with Puckett in the backfield and only Givens spread out live. But they go for the pass. Shrinsky's flushed out of the pocket, looking to throw, nothing doing. He's just forced to escape to the left. But it appears he's decked out of bounds, and if I'm not mistaken, it appears a flag has been thrown. But I can't be certain. I saw the ref throw something on the field.
Looks like it was Skrempos came up and really took a shot at Oliver Shrinsky there, knocked him to the ground pretty hard, and then was talking when he got back up. So
holding on Paly is the call. So if they replay this down, it's going to be about 3rd and 15, or it'll be a 4th and 5. We'll see what the call is. It's going to be 3rd and 15. They're going to replay the down. And, I mean, if you're Paly, you're not mad because you get another shot at first down here.
It's an interesting decision by Milpitas to actually accept that penalty because considering they're up 34 points, you would think that they would feel pretty confident about their ability to get a stop on 4th down, judging by the fact that Paly has been unable to pick up much yardage so far this game. But they're going to be winning the field position battle if they're able to get a stop here. So
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I mean, Milpitas at this point is expecting the run. So I say, throw in a flea flicker, try to get some yards. It works on Madden. Why can't it work here?
Oh, that's play action.
Frenchie does the play action. He's going deep to Givens down the right sideline, and it's incomplete. Givens had a chance to make a play, but the defender stuck his hand in there and just poked it out.
James Santos has been absolutely phenomenal this game.
He's been shutting down Givens. That's quite a task, isn't it?
Yeah, they've taken 3 deep shots from what I've counted, where it's been Givens versus Santos, one-on-one, out wide. The quarterbacks put the ball up, and both have been able to make a play. And 3 times now, Santos has come out on top, and it's been pretty impressive. I haven't seen any defensive back able to do that against a talent like Eli Givens. So, very, 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 very impressive by James Santos.
Now, Paly back to punt. The kick is blocked and recovered by Milpitas. Number 24 sees it, catches it out of the air, and takes it down to the 11-yard line from Paly. And that's just sloppy. A punt return down to the 10-yard line. Now a blocked kick returned down to the 11-yard line. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than this for Paly at this point. They're down 34 on senior night, and it's not looking any better. It doesn't look like there's no light at the end of the tunnel for Paly at this point.
That's what it would appear to be. I mean, I don't know how that just happened. On special teams, if you're not going to be able to win the offensive battle or the defensive battle, you could at least win the special teams battle, wouldn't you say? And
I would say.
Right now, right now it doesn't really appear like that's happening for Palo Alto. So, great play by Scrimpos, though, to get in there and use his height to make a play on the punter.
Handoff to number 11, McNary. McNary takes it around the outside for about 5. Going to be tackled down around the 5 or 6 yard line. We'll wait for the referee's marking. It's going to bring out a 2nd and 5, and it appears that it's not quite goal to go for the Trojans, so they can get a first down at about the half-yard line if they were able to pound it in there. But I would presume that Trojans will score on this drive.
Yeah, McNary's been doing a pretty good job in the season, averaging just over 5 yards per carry. He's got a touchdown. Looking to get another one on this drive, hopefully, for him. Looks like something's happened, though. They're going to be backing Milpitas up, probably a holding call.
That seems to be a common theme for Milpitas. They seem to have quite a few false starts and holding calls. That really, not that it's affecting the outcome of this game as they have been dominating the entire game, but they have been pushed back on their yards on solid gains. Now McNary takes it out to the right side of his offensive line, and he's dropped for looks about a 1 yard loss almost, but definitely no gain on that play. And Paly could be looking at a stop here for an attempted field goal by Bunyard, and we'd like to see a Bunyard's leg. Maybe he could pound one through here and redeem himself for that missed PAT.
Yeah, what's absurd to me is the fact that Palo Alto is yet to get a stop on defense. They have not stopped Milpitas. Milpitas is yet to punt the football, so they really, really, really need to lock down here, not just for this game, but for their confidence going forward, because it's not a good feeling to and gets around to the outside. It's been spun around 5 times.
And I see a flag being thrown by the ref. I'm going to assume that's going to be a holding on Milpitas once again. We'll wait to see the call here, but that'll look like it's going to be 3rd and 29 now for the Trojans. And I would not be surprised if they pick this up. They've showed that they can run the ball, get huge gains.
No doubt.
As we await the call here, we'll see what the officials are going to
so dangerous on the ground and in the air too. It's not the fact. It's the fact that the situation of this game is dictated that Milpitas is not going to be throwing the football, but in a game where they did have to throw the football, you'd have to think that they'd be pretty deadly.
And the penalty has been called against Palo Alto. I didn't quite catch the call, but it's going to be 2nd and 6 on the 6 yard line for the Trojans. And we didn't catch that one, but I would assume it would be defensive holding or illegal use of the hands to the face or some call like that, as they moved about half the distance to the goal, or about 10 yards. and they'll line up on the 6-yard line. And it appears that they're going to hand it off to McNary, the tailback, and he's going to grind his way down to about the half-yard line, or yes, the half-yard line. The referee looked like he was going to signal for a touchdown, but he has marked him down shy.
That was an interesting signal from the ref. Did you see that? He put his arms up like it was a touchdown, and then he clasped them and went forward again. So you can see here he almost gets to the end zone. He goes down very, very, very near the end line. I'd have difficulty imagining the fact that they're not going to score here. So probably a QB sneak from what we've seen earlier.
We got Schofield under center here, and he's going to be a QB sneak. No, he hands it off to the tailback. And McNary is in for the score. That's Darius McNary, the running back. He also has a brother, Derek McNary, who is the backup quarterback to Schofield. And I can imagine what kind of experience it'd be like playing your senior year with your brother. You know, and you're playing well. You're one of the top teams in the Bay Area. And it's got to be a good experience, fun time.
You got to wonder if those two are twins. Their names are Darius and Derek, so very similar names there. That's got to be a real troublesome situation for some teachers out there who have to call them by their first names.
Now Bunyard lined up for the PAT, and that one is drilled. And he got a hold of that one again. He's got some height and lift on those ones. He just pushes it right to the uprights. I think by this point we can determine that first PAT was a fluke.
Yeah, he's really impressed me since
didn't catch a hold of it.
Since the first kick, he's been pretty solid. So he'll get another chance to show off his strong
kickoffs
leg.
have been very satisfactory as well, all the way down to the 5-yard line or even better into the end zone.
It's very impressive. Big part of the game too, because field position is of utmost importance in this game, and I think that Milpitas, although they've obviously dominated with their offensive and defensive prowess, have also been winning the field position game, and it's prevented Paly from getting anything going, and it's made scoring touchdowns for Milpitas extremely easy, despite the fact that they're getting penalties on nearly every possession. So Milpitas, one thing, when you say they need to focus a little bit on cutting down on the penalties.
I would definitely say that. In recent news, there's hear about the high school kicker who kicked a 61-yarder during the game. Not sure if Bunyard could quite make that one, but we think he'd come close. I'd imagine he'd get quite a few college offers after that kick.
Yeah.
And Bunyard lined up for the kick, raises his hand to signal he's ready to go, and he runs up to
blast
the ball,
off,
kicks it, and it's a deep kick down to the end zone. Called for a touchback. He stepped back in the end zone. Givens was the one who received it, but back of his heel stepped on the line, so that's going to be a touchdown, and they'll bring it out to the 20. It's true. Paly will start this drive on the 20-yard line. 4 minutes remain in the third quarter. The score is 41-0. Trojans over the Vikings, and
looks like it's going to be running clock from here on out.
As a Viking student right now, I'm a little disappointed. I wasn't expecting much, but it's been an onslaught of points and touchdowns by the Trojans.
It's less about us and more about the fact that Paly needs to try to make this fun for their seniors. This is their last home game, and they're going to want to play. They got to play with some pride here because they've shown. I mean, they've earned our respect by the fact that they're trying so hard and working so hard out there. But you need to make this last game memorable for these seniors because this is the last time that most of them will probably ever play football, a real game of football, in front of these Paly fans. So it's a bittersweet moment for these guys right now because they're getting slaughtered. They're getting slaughtered out here, but it's also football must be the game that they love because they're playing it right now as a senior, and it's kind of sad.
That was pocket up the middle for a 1-yard gain, so it's going to be 2nd and 9. Svirsky under center. We did mention that. We called the midi game for those of you who have tuned into both, and we mentioned that the quarterback was never going to go in the shotgun. The coach refused to put him in the shotgun. He was always under center, and that is proved to be true here tonight, too. Svirsky has never taken a shotgun snap under center, as always. And that was Skrempos getting through the line to hustle and hurry Schvinsky into a bad throw that got batted down. So it'll be 3rd and 9 for the Vikings inside their own 20.
Yeah, it's a little bit bizarre considering you're playing with a quarterback who, despite his extreme athleticism and quickness and toughness, is a little bit undersized for the position. He's probably a little bit shorter than his backup, Justin Hull. And he's playing completely under center. He's never taken any snaps from the shotgun, which would allow him to see a little bit better, see his receivers a little bit better. And from what we've seen, they're getting great pressure on the quarterback, so I don't understand why they wouldn't give him more time to see the pass rush, because as soon as he takes the snap, there's defensive ends all over him.
And that was Fursky rolling out, throwing a pass, trying to pick up the first down to Eli Givens, but the pass fell short, incomplete. Givens could not slide in and make the catch. So now the Vikings will be forced to punt again, and it will be the punter number 4, I believe, on the punt. No, not number 4. Number 17. And he'll kick it away, and it's a deep kick down to the 35, and it's fumbled by Rita, but Rita recovers, and he's going to take it down the left sideline all the way to the 15. He's still on his feet to the 40, to the 30, and he's tackled down at the 30. Nice open tackle by the Paly Special Teams unit, and there appears to be an injured Milpitas Trojan on the field.
There's 2 injuries on the field right now.
2 injuries.
Wow. That Paly player on the left side got absolutely rocked.
He did. That was number 11.
Shioki Brian Anderson, I believe.
He looks a bit shaken up. Could be just the wind got knocked out of him. We won't be able to tell for a little while. And also, number 10 on Milpitas, Toa Iafeda, was shaken up on that play. Took a hit from a Paly Special Teams player.
Well, you know that coaches and players are going to be extremely conscious of injuries, and especially with everything that's been going on in the NFL recently, players trying to play through serious head injuries that can cause long-lasting and very serious damage. So it doesn't look like it's going to be a head injury on this play, but it's good. It's always good to be cognizant of the fact that bad things can happen on the football field, because it's a very physical sport.
As he's getting tended to, that's Brian Anderson. For those of you who didn't hear before, looks like he's getting stretched out here. Maybe it's just a cramp. That tends to happen to athletes a lot if you're not drinking enough water, not staying hydrated. Looks like he's getting up all right, and he's gonna get escorted off the field, and we can continue this matchup here. It's the worst thing you can see in a game. You never want to see a young guy in high school get hurt like that.
No, especially not on senior night. As a senior,
yeah,
that's a bummer for him. I feel for him right there.
So as he gets attended to, Milpitas has fantastic field position once again. In this half, this has been their worst field position, and they're on the 30-yard line of the Vikings. Almost all their possessions have started inside the Paly red zone this half. I mean, that's an unbelievable stat.
It's ridiculous, the fact that Milpitas has yet to take a snap inside of there hasn't been a snap inside of the Palo Alto side of this field once this entire half right now.
For either the Trojans or the Vikings.
Yeah.
And
keep it on the ground. Oh, the ball's loose. Mikey Grandy came up with it.
It appears that Grandy has recovered the fumble by McNary, and the Vikings will take over at the Trojan 30-yard line. It's probably their best field position of the game so far. As we get the replay here, let's really, so we can assess what happened during this play.
It looked like the ball came loose very early. Someone stripped it, and then it was bobbling around, and Mikey Grandy was able to, with the heads-up play, to grab it with both hands, secure it, and go to the ground. Smart play by Grandy. Junior, very talented young man. Great player so far, and he's got a lot. He's improving, and he's got a lot of potential. So it'll be fun to watch him in the coming years.
And we got a whistle. It's going to be the end of the third quarter. And as we take you to a break in the action, while we wait for the start of the fourth quarter, the score is the Milpitas Trojans 41, the Palo Alto Vikings 0.
Well, some people complain about how soccer games aren't high scoring enough, but if you're a Palo Alto Vikings football fan right now, you might be so inclined to check out a English Premier League match right now, because they're doing a lot more scoring in those games.
It's a low blow right in the gut, Kev, right in the gut.
Benner, what do you think they got to do to get some points on the board this half?
You know what I'm going to say? You're going to laugh at me, but I say it every time, and I think you know it's coming. I think you want to say the play for me.
Flea Flicker? Oh, it's the Flea Flicker.
You would be correct if you guessed
Flea Flicker.
For those of you at home watching, if you guessed Flea Flicker, you would be right. You know, it's my favorite football play.
That's our Aflac question of the day.
My 2 favorite plays in football got to be the onside kick and the Flea Flicker. You know, they bring excitement to the game, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, if I was Milpitas, I would certainly not be expecting a Flea Flicker right now, down 41 points. If you're trying to put some points on the board, a Flea Flicker is one way to do that because everyone thinks you're probably just going to be pounding the ball up the middle, trying to run out the clock and cut your losses, but let's get it going right here. Let's get a Flea Flicker, please.
Schvinsky under center, once again, as we mentioned before, with Puckett as the halfback behind him. We got 2 halfbacks, Puckett one of them. Can't see the number of the other one, but he throws short to number... who's wide receiver?
Looks like 15, Riley Shobin.
Left. Looks like it's Riley Shobin. Riley Shobin's been a solid receiver for Schvinsky all year.
I've been impressed with Shobin's performance recently. It seems like he tends to not get as much playing time at the beginning of games, but a lot
he
of
seems to be Schvinsky's go-to receiver in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah,
when they need the receptions.
He's been able to come in and make some solid contributions. So look for him next year. Seems to be like a guy who could have maybe make some pretty serious contributions next year.
Pocket up the middle. Looks like it's going to be about 3 yards. So it's going to be 3rd and short, 3rd and 1 yard to be precise. And the Vikings looking for their first down conversion of the half.
This would be huge for the Vikings,
I mean,
especially if they're able to get...
It's a big confidence boost, you know. I mean, if you're going to get 10 yards in 3 plays for them, it would be very solid this game.
Yeah, their offense has been pretty stagnant this game specifically, but throughout the entire season, it's been a serious problem. They've had a couple outbursts, which is bound to happen when you've got explosive talent like they do. But this would be nice to be able to put together a drive that would eat up the clock a little bit and keep it somewhat respectable, put some points up.
Puckett straight up the middle. He's going to be stopped half a yard shy. And, I mean, at this point, Paly's just going to go for it. There's no reason for them not to. It's senior night. You want to get something going here.
Yeah, I don't see a situation where they're going to punt the football here.
And
the real question is, are they going to be running it, or are they going to be throwing it, or are they going to be
everyone in the stadium?
It?
Everyone in the stadium is thinking run. That's why I'm thinking pass.
That's an interesting perspective. It looks like they're lined up for the QB sneak, and they're going to get it.
And it's a QB sneak, and it appears that Schvinsky will be successful in his conversion. The referee signals for the first down. You got to buy a half a yard, so yard pickup for Schvinsky, and that's a good momentum builder for Paly. If they can get a little drive here going, maybe they don't get a touchdown, but get some solid yards. I mean, pin Milpitas back in their own half, maybe force them to punt for the first time this game.
That would be very exciting to see Milpitas just punt the ball. I didn't know that was physically possible for the Milpitas team right now.
These Trojans are playing like warriors out here tonight.
Yeah, they are. They've played really well. I'm really impressed with the Milpitas football team. And I think that a lot of people doubted them, saying that they were the league that they're playing in, the De Anza League, is not so strong. But Los Gatos is a good football team. Palo Alto isn't a terrible football team right now. They're not playing like they're a contender, but they're not. They've beaten some quality opponents like Santa Clara, and I think that Milpitas has shown that they're in a league of their own as far as this is concerned.
I was Puckett. Ran it for no gain up the middle, and it's going to be 2nd down and 10. Schvinsky under center. Fakes the handoff. He's going deep. No, not deep, but short out route to Riley Shobin for about 16 yards, 15 yards, and a first down. I think that might be Paly's longest play of the game.
That was a nice completion.
It's one of their bigger plays of the game, and a nice completion from Schvinsky to Shobin. I mean, we see this in a few other games, but I think Shobin and Schvinsky really have some chemistry going. I mean, they've really completed quite a few passes when they need it most.
And it's really important to remember that this Palo Alto team is very, very young. They're so far, other than Jay-Sean Puckett, their best offensive contributors have all been juniors. They have another year. They're just trying to get this thing right now. Just work out the kinks, and hopefully next year they can be real competitors.
And that's Puckett taking it up on his left, a little to the cut to the left for about 4 yards. Solid run for Jay-Sean. Puckett up there, and it's going to be 2nd and 6 for the Vikings.
And that's something that the Vikings, if they could have done that earlier on in the game, I think that they would have been a lot more dangerous offensively, because they were unable to really pick up any serious yardage on first down running the football. So they were getting behind, and then there was obvious passing downs, which allowed Milpitas to utilize their extremely impressive pass rush
They
headed
say
by Scrempos.
something's up with somebody or some house or something.
So right now, looks like there's going to be a timeout on the field. It's good to see that the cheerleaders are over there still screaming their hearts out. They never lose confidence in their team. And a pretty good turnout on senior night for the Palo Alto team. That's impressive. That shows a lot of school spirit.
And I think we've mentioned this before when we've called Paly games before this one, that we always feel like Paly just comes out running too much. Like they run 3 times and they don't get the first down. They don't try to establish. They don't do a good mix of running and passing in the beginning of the games. Like, they can establish, they can make a few completions and make the defense sit back a little bit, and they can open up running holes for Puckett to penetrate through and get some good gains.
Yeah, the play calls have been very run heavy. Just noticed that Palo Alto just crossed the 50-yard line for the first time this half. But yeah, it's probably like 70 or 80% runs as he drops back on the.
Almost
wow.
picked off. That was number 27, John McCauley on Milpitas, who almost had that pick. Could have gone for 6 too. Looked like there was.
We got a
really
replay here.
there.
It looks like it was a timing throw. He was trying to hit him on the quick slant,
and McNally was just looking at the field before he caught the ball. Just slipped out of his hands. Couldn't make the play. You see that in the NFL a lot.
Yeah.
Common mistake by NFL players. They're so excited on seeing where they can return it, they forget to make the catch first and secure the ball before they start taking off up the field.
There's a lot of times where you see a quarterback make a bad throw and the defensive back drops the ball and you think that's why he's playing defense.
Schwinski under center, and that is Brian Anderson in motion. Schwinski rolled out to his right.
He's open.
Brian Anderson, and that's going to be incomplete.
Wow.
That is just heartbreaking for Paly. It's going to be 4th and 6 now. They had their first sufficient drive of the game, and they're finally in the 4th quarter. We get to take a look at this. Schwinski makes a nice play, rolls out. Brian Anderson wide open. And I think that might be another case of what we talked about last time.
Yep.
He didn't secure the ball before he started looking upfield. He just took off running, and then he just couldn't complete the catch, couldn't complete the process.
Might have to put him on defense. But that was a great play. I think he was just a little bit overexcited. He's a good player. He'll make that play next time, I'm sure.
That's a good play call by Paly there. I'm surprised they don't do that more. Just running backs in the flat, make a 5-6 yard gains. As Schwinski drives back to pass again. He's going to take off and run. This one looks like no. He throws it to Brian Anderson.
PI.
And it looks like he's going to get PI. Brian Anderson almost came up with the catch even after the Milpitas defensive back was tugging and pulling on his jersey. And it's going to be 15 yards, I believe, for the Vikes. And that'll move him almost into red zone territory of Milpitas. Up
Good
about
job
the
of
30-yard line.
Brian Anderson to come back to the football. He made that mistake on that last play, but this time he's able to redeem himself. He saw that the throw was a little bit short, and he came back, worked back to the football, and was able to draw the contact from the defensive back.
Looked like Torrey Smith out there drawing those PI penalties.
Yep. Torrey Smith, prominent NFL receiver known for drawing pass interference penalties.
Boomer
but
bust
not
for
making many
fantasy,
catches.
so beware of that.
Fantasy owners beware.
Schwinski takes it under center. We got Puckett in the backfield with his fullback, number 21, Duane Jones. And Puckett will take it up the middle for about 2 yards, maybe a yard. And it'll bring up 2nd down for the Vikings, who actually had
middle, Puckett up the middle.
you beat me to it, Kev. You beat me to it. I was going to say that. Puckett getting a solid gain right there. Paly trying to, I'd say they're just winding down the clock here, trying to lessen the hurt. And it's 41-0. They can make it 41-7. I mean, that's a solid result. Milpitas ranked 2nd in the Bay Area, as our Alex mentioned before, 2nd only to De La Salle.
Did you see Oliver Schwinski go out and adjust his wide receiver's stance out wide? He just ran over there. Rolls out.
That's
wow,
the
what a
symbolism of
play.
true leader.
Oh, man.
And Schwinski he's going to gain a yard on that play. Incredible athletic ability to just juke the living daylights out of those defenders.
He sliced him up on that one. Here's the replay.
Almost forgot we were on air there.
Look at that.
We take a look at it. Schwinski just
wow.
cuts in between the two defenders,
Great
slices through him like a hot knife in butter.
That was impressive, and it's kind of telling, though, that he's able to make that great play, and Milpitas still stops him for no gain.
Could it correlate directly to his basketball moves? His moves on the basketball court?
Yeah, he's got some ankle-breaking moves out there in the basketball court, too. He's a multifaceted player, can shoot and dribbled the basketball.
Oh, throws.
And that's picked off.
Intended for Shobin, and it's picked off by the Milpitas DB.
Christian Rita. Christian Rita's been huge.
Christian Rita, also a basketball star at Milpitas.
Yep. Extremely athletic.
We've seen him throw down in a couple games, and
Yep.
we just watched the gym erupt. It was quite the experience.
Yeah.
But Rita picks off Shvinsky there, and I saw Shobin like it appeared he jumped on his back, and Rita just took him for a ride there for a while before Shobin brought him down. Nice tackle by Shobin, I will add.
Shobin was trying to hitch a ride back to the bench, it looked like. But Rita has definitely been a huge part of this Milpitas football team. Not only with that huge catch on 3rd and 16 that brought him down to the 1-yard line, but also his punt returns have been phenomenal. He hasn't actually returned one for a touchdown yet.
One to the 10, one to the 30. That really just sets the tone for your team.
Making huge differences on special teams as well, and then that huge play on defense.
So we've seen Milpitas fumble and score 6 touchdowns, but we are yet to see a punt.
And that's gone.
That one is gone. That is number 16, it appears, Tony Caballero Santana, who breaks it off for about a 65-yard touchdown run, and the onslaught continues. Milpitas is just pouring it on against Paly. No remorse for these Vikes on senior night.
Yeah, that was a great play. I think that was...
It's actually, correction, Sean Barnes on the run. Sean Barnes, a senior running back for Milpitas. That's going to be a good experience for him, you know, getting some reps in the real games and getting a nice touchdown, 65 yards.
And I like the decision by him to just finish off that run strong and not take a knee or anything like that, because this is a high school football game. It's not Pop Warner. It's nothing like that. Let's just play it out. And the clock's running, so there's really no need to take any extra precautions against stopping the game.
And Bunyard pushes that extra point wide. He got the height and the distance, just not the accuracy.
I don't think he did get the height and the distance. I think he just dropped that short. I'm not kidding. He
really?
just kicked.
I wonder if we have a replay on that we could check out.
I don't think so, but that was a weird play. It's almost like he was just trying to chip it over just over the offensive line. Kind of a bizarre play, especially after we've seen him kick it.
We know he's got the leg to boot it out there.
Yeah.
Maybe into outer space, like Space Jam. And Bunyard will line up for the kick here. We've seen him with some pretty impressive kicks, and hopefully Givens can recreate some of his magic from against Santa Clara, where he took one back for a touchdown. Taken after Paul Jackson on the JV squad, who's returned many kicks for a touchdown.
That's one thing that Paly can take away from this night, is that their JV squad put up a very, very competitive, impressive fight against Milpitas JV team. I was talking to one of the running backs on the JV team today, and he said that they thought they were pretty overmatched. So the fact that they were able to stay tight with them and compete is a good sign for Paly going forward. They're going to bring up some real athletic talent next year too, and keep up the fact that they have a young, explosive team. So there's some positives they can take away from this, despite the beatdown that just occurred on this field here. But we'll see how it goes for them in the last couple of minutes.
Bunyard with a solid kick down to the 10-yard line. It gets returned by Puckett. Puckett out to the 30, he's still on his feet, to the 40, to the 45, to the 50, and he shoved that out of bounds at the 52-yard line. An amazing return by Jay Sean Puckett to stay out on his feet and return that one for great field position for the Vikings inside Trojan territory. And we get a replay here. We can see Bunyard with a solid kick down to the 10-yard line, and Puckett just turned on the Jets there and just blew by the defenders.
It's interesting to see that they have Puckett back there when it's usually Givens, but it's senior night. I think they're trying to give him a chance. Almost sheds off a couple tacklers.
Almost brought to the ground there, but he shakes it off, and then he's finally pushed out of bounds by Bunyard, the kicker, I believe. So good heads-up play by Bunyard to step in there and make the tackle, maybe preventing a touchdown there.
Great effort by that guy on by Jay Sean Puckett on senior night there. Never giving up. There's only a minute left.
Now it appears that Paly's been given an additional 15 yards for excessive roughing the returner, I believe, after the play.
Personal foul after the play, I think is what moved him up there.
So now Shvinsky under center again with Puckett in the backfield. He hands it off, fakes the hand off the puck. He got me on that one.
Oh, he got him beat on a double move.
Brian Anderson. Just overthrown a tad by Shvinsky.
That was a good
Brian
throw.
Anderson has been getting open just throws and the catches just haven't quite been there. But he did draw that one pass interference play.
He got him on the double move there. He faked like he was going to go outside, a little quick out, and the DB bit, and he just took it up the field, and Shrinsky just let him a tiny bit too much.
Good play action fake there by Shrinsky. Fooled me. I thought he'd given on.
Well, it's not easy to fool you, but we got 30 seconds left in this game. Let's see how many plays, maybe two more plays possibly if they hurry up.
Shrinsky with another play action.
He's got
fake.
one-on-one with Shobin out wide.
To Shobin.
It's a
Shobin's going to make the catch.
He got it.
Touchdown Vikings. Riley Shobin from Oliver Shrinsky, and the Vikings are on the board. On senior night, it's going to be 47-6 with 18 seconds left on the clock. A great play by Shrinsky and Shobin. Shobin just gets away from his defender in the end zone and he makes a nice catch. Great delivery.
The onside kick, you never know. Never know.
Great delivery by Shrinsky too. And I would like to see the onside kick.
He saw that his receiver had one-on-one coverage, and he knew that he had to put the ball up there in the air, put some air underneath it, let his receiver try to make a play. And Shobin was able to outmaneuver the DB and get around him, and he had a pretty easy catch there in the end.
Now junior Jose Patino on for the PAT. We'll see if he can drill it through the uprights and make more of an impact than Bunyard has for these Trojans.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes here.
Very solid kicker.
Extra points have been a problem in the past for Palo Alto. Almost cost him the game against Sequoia, but this one's no trouble.
Patino blasted to the uprights. He got a hold of that one, I would say. And it's a perfect kick. And Paly is on the board at 47-7. So they've exceeded all expectations in this second half and really got some offense going, which has been good to watch. I've
Palo
enjoyed
Alto's
this.
really outplayed Milpitas in the last 10 seconds, so I really don't know what to say other than that if Paly had played like that this entire game, maybe this would be a closer match.
I hate to burst your bubble, but 30-yard touchdown passes don't happen all the time.
That's true. Usually only on offense, but we got 18 seconds left in this one.
I presume an onside kick would be the next play for Paly, given they have nothing to lose.
I don't think they're going to do an onside kick. I think that's kind of considered bad sportsmanship.
Why would it be bad? I mean, they're down. They're losing by 40. You got nothing to lose. Go for it. Senior night.
You lose just the game better.
The game has already been lost.
Well, we'll see. I'm betting on no onside kick.
I would
say what you want.
You want to place a wager?
I don't do that, but
all right.
If they do onside kick,
you're not the Jameis Winston of Palo Alto High School.
Yes, I don't. Allegations made against Jameis Winston today that he was involved in a point-shaving scandal. No 100% facts yet around that issue, but
it appears that
something to keep your eye on.
Patino will not go for the onside kick as he's getting his big wind-up, taking 10 steps back about. But you never know. We'll see.
And it looks like I was right.
It's a squib kick, not a deep kick. And Milpitas Trojan will field it and just kneel it down with 13 seconds, 12. And it appears the clock will run, and that will do it for us here at Viking Stadium in Palo Alto, California. For all of MC Sports and the MC Sports production, I'm Ben Ramon and Kevin Mullen here in the commentary booth. Thank you for tuning in tonight. It was a great senior night, not the result the Vikings were looking for, but a hard-fought game. They really put their heart and soul into this game, and in the end, Milpitas just a better team, just grinded out, and they got the victory.
Yeah, no doubt. Milpitas is the better football team, but you can't take anything away from Paly. They fought till the last drive. They got some points on the board. That was good to see. I think that Milpitas is going to do some serious damage in the playoffs, and I think that Paly's gained a lot of valuable experience from this game too. So, no, Paly might have lost in the field, but I think that there's positives to take away from both teams, and I think that it's gonna be fun to watch these teams next year and see how they do.
Well, that wraps up our presentation of high school football here on this beautiful Friday evening in Palo Alto. So that's going to be all from us from the commentary booth, but hope you enjoyed this broadcast, and tune in next time to MC Sports Channel 28.
Thanks for watching, everybody.